Any opportunity he was given to do any sort of sport, didn't really matter what it was, he would have a go and enjoy it.
I had to be the best always as a kid. I had to win everything. I used to think I was the fastest in primary school up until another kid beat me, and then I was really not happy about it. But yeah, competitive is just all the time.
He's just my William, and I'm very, very grateful that he's still alive and I've still got him.
I'm very self-driven. I mean, if the past 2 years anything, yeah. It's all had to come from me. I've been given like opportunities and I've just taken them because I can't not anymore.
I first met Will at the start of college, so we were about 16, 17. I like making people laugh, and I think he likes making people laugh as well. He's always smiling, he's always joking about, he's nice to everyone.
You know, going out and running about is the way he gets through stuff. So if he's told he can't, that's like having a caged animal.
He's such a warrior, honestly. Like, if nothing will put him down at all. He could be struck by lightning and he'd still get up and dust himself off and go again. Like, nothing will put him down.
Just normal day, did college. Came back to college for 6-a-side football, trained swimming for an hour, and then the rest is what it is, isn't it? I mean, I unlocked my bike, as I always do, checked the lights, made sure they were on, just started cycling down that road, and the road goes on a long, gradual turn, but you can see at least 100 feet in front of you at every point. And I'd say that's the last clear memory. He hit me at 60, 70 miles an hour, and I've flown back into the windshield and then flown 50 to 75 feet forwards, skidded along the road. My bike and all everything was spread over about 100 metres. The first responder was an off-duty nurse. She was heading back from her shift, so I was really lucky because my head was bleeding out on the road. I might have felt a bit of tingling, but I've not. I couldn't say for certain. I remember when my mum arrived on the scene.
It was very dark. He was lying on the side of the road. I felt quite sick. Because I'm a nurse, I was going through those, like, well, he's talking, which was reassuring to me.
And she looked down at me, and I could hear her voice.
And I said, William, Mum is here.
And I was like, Mum, I can hear you, but I can't see you. And she was like, that's because you're looking at the road, darling. And I was like, oh, okay. And at that point, she sort of knew it was still me, and I was still with it, but I was battered beyond belief, to be fair.
When we got to A&E, he was a trauma call, so everybody who needed to be there was there, which is brilliant. Then I heard what the extent of the injuries were.
My best mate came and visited. It shocked him because he'd never seen me in that state before.
It was brutal, honestly. Like, his face was like covered in gashes and scrapes. It was horrible to look at.
He had a fractured skull and a laceration to his head. He had a subdural hematoma, so a bleed into his head. He fractured both his scapula. He fractured one rib on his left side and 5 ribs on his right side. He had a fractured sternum and a collapsed lung.
When you break your number 1 rib, it's covered in a load of nerves, And when you break that, you have an 80% chance of losing the entire function of your arm. And with my brain injury as well, they've seen people never walk again from that. I mean, it was one of the benefits, I guess, of being 17 and as fit as I was. I just bounced back. Take it gently, don't rush anything, and get back to fitness as quickly as you can. It was purely self-driven.
He wanted to be back on his bike. He wanted to be back racing. You know, he didn't want to be stuck around doing nothing. You could kind of tell that he was just itching, that he just wanted to get back out there. He had a strenuous rehab set by his personal trainer. I decided to do it with him. I thought he was going to be struggling through it the entire time, but it turned out he was still way stronger than me. So I was lifting more weights than I was almost 3 weeks after the crash.
So I reckon 6 months was where I started to see, one, my physique change back to something that it used to look like. I was also told later by a physio, I do not have the markings for someone with an event such as that. We then called myself indestructible. "13 months, almost exactly. I thought it was going to be an easy session. And then our coach came up and said, oh, we've got Welsh indoors in November. We need to start training for that. So he decided to do 2 times 750 max efforts. And the first one I did, it was a really good split. I was so chuffed. And I tried to keep with my friend who then started and he was next to me. I was thinking, this is just hard. It's just hard work. And we got all the way to the end. He then got up from his machine while I just put the machine back. I was like, phew, it was hard work. And I sort of just bent over in the seat and that's when I black out. I don't remember anything from there.
Analyzing heart rhythm. Do not touch the patient. Shock advised. Charging. Stay clear of patient. Deliver shock now. Shock delivered.
That was another phone call. And she said, well, he was rowing and he stopped breathing.
We had the shout on the radio, and there was a first aid. We needed to go and see what was going on. And then one of the rowers came down and said, someone's unconscious, can you just come and check him out? And so I started walking upstairs to where he was. Then another rower appeared, said no, he's gone, he's not breathing. So I ran back to get the defib.
Seconds after they just defibbed me, I shot straight up. And I was all like, whoa, what's going on? They coaxed me back down to lying down. And I came around the second time, and that's when I start remembering things, and there are paramedics around me, and they tell me, you've had a cardiac arrest.
The road accident was nothing compared to that.
I didn't feel at the time it was as severe as it probably was. He later told me about a week later that he genuinely died and they'd revived him.
He was very lucky that there was a lifeguard there who clearly knew what he was doing, even though he'd never done it before, bless him. He did it and it was successful, and I'm very grateful to him.
I still can't believe it, like seeing him walking around now, like thinking like he's alive because of what we did.
It's mad, this is the exact one I see in my life. But I didn't see it at any point, so this is the first time I've actually seen it.
As soon as I was out of hospital, I did go and sit on the rowing machine. I knew I couldn't do anything with it, but I just wanted to be there.
It took me a while to go back up to where it happened. I can imagine like for him, going to sit back on the row is quite relieving in a way.
It's pretty surreal being here, I'll be honest. It's weird. I haven't sat in the same spot and gone, wow. And I still couldn't tell you why it happened.
He was worried initially that he wouldn't be able to do sport. And I said, I'm sure, you know, we'll get through it, whatever it is, we'll deal with it.
I mean, there's no one that deserves that, of course, but certainly not Will.
The chances of it happening are very, very small, but I know that now I've had one, mine are now doubled.
If you have another cardiac arrest outside hospital, you're unlikely to survive. So it was recommended that he had an internal cardiac defibrillator.
Once my heart goes into an unorthodox rhythm, so an irregular rhythm, it acts as a defibrillator.
I mean, there wasn't really a choice. It was, you know, do we risk it and he could die, or do we have this put in and at least I know he's safe?
I'm still getting used to it. It's about a 6-month turnaround for actually psychologically getting through it. I think I've accepted the fact that I'm now living with it. I'm getting my fitness back, it's a totally different way of doing it. It limits me so that I can't lift weights above my head. So unfortunately I can't go back to rowing. I can't do any contact sports because of the risk of injury to the device. So now it is predominantly tennis. And then I'm still training triathlon on the side. I'm still me, but there is an element of caution there that wasn't there before.
I'd love to have his heart and his drive. He's taught me not to take anything for granted. To have that commitment level, especially after you've been knocked back, it's insane.
Some people would say everything happens for a reason. Those are two messed up reasons, and I can't say that I am satisfied with those reasons, but it's almost stopped for me twice now. And that just sort of puts it in perspective. It's like, I need to go for it. I definitely want to take sport as far as I can go. I definitely want to work in elite sport.
I'm proud of everything he achieves. He's just my William, and I'm very, very grateful that he's still alive and I've still got him. You know, every now and then I do think, what if he had died? What if, you know? But he didn't. He's here, and nothing's going to stop him.
Treat every moment as if it could be last, essentially. Dreams don't work unless you do. It's very applicable to this. Probably say I'm most proud of the fact that I keep going. I don't stop. Because if you stop, what's the point?